So I wanted to welcome everybody. I'm Peter Carlson, Procelsus Property Management. I'm here joined with my colleague, Lester Borrero with Farmers Insurance. He's going to give us some information, some insight on insurance in the rental space of properties today and what can be done to really make sure that you understand what's happening in the market and the insurance market, why costs are going up, and also what you can do to protect yourself as a landlord and homeowner in today's market. So welcome, Lester. Appreciate having you on.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So there's a lot going on in the world today, and there's a lot going on in the world of insurance specifically. I know you've probably had a lot of clients have increases in their rates, increases in their premiums. Talk to me about why that's happening.
Well, basically, the insurance companies or insurance industry is losing money, is the short answer. They're losing money, so they have to raise rates in order to more adequately, provide the coverage for the risk. And the reason why they're losing money is, in my opinion, largely due to climate change. I feel like climate change has affected the weather, which has affected the severity of the weather, the storms across the United States, not just in California, but from New York all the way to California, Hawaii, even. You're seeing weather that's just never been seen before. And I feel like the climate change has affected that. So there's been an increase in claims due to the weather. There's also been and that's affecting primarily homes.
Okay.
The weather affects flooding, fires, and those kind of things, which is primarily what we're seeing. On the autos, you'll see hail damage, you'll see some flooding, not so much fire, but there's also been an increase in the number of auto claims. Not only in the number of auto claims, but in the cost of the auto claims. So California, it's like a small country. We have a lot of drivers. So everybody's texting on the road. There's a lot of distracted driving, and there's a lot of these slow collision impacts. And that impact basically creates a claim. And the claim doesn't cost $500 anymore because autos have sensors and cameras and computer chips and this and that. It's a $5,000 fix now. And because of COVID and inflation and the supply chains, it takes a month to fix that bumper when it used to take a week. So the time, the cost, all of these factors have increased, making it more costly for the insurance companies, which in effect makes them lose money. So what you're seeing is insurance companies are pulling out of the market.
Okay.
Altogether, we're not going to write business in California anymore. You've seen in companies stop writing business in certain lines of business, like Allstate and State Farm. They're not writing homes anymore. They don't want that exposure. You see companies like Farmers. We're still in it, but what we're doing is we're taking rate. We're trying to price the risk more appropriately. And let's just face it, it doesn't cost $500 to fix that bumper anymore. And if we're taking premiums based on that $500 repair when it's really $5,000, it comes out of the pocket. So ultimately, something has to give. And that's basically what's happening. I can expect insurance rates to continue to rise. It may come to the point where, like, the health insurance industry got so out of control that the government had to step in. Maybe we might need some government intervention.
Interesting.
Just because insurance companies are not wanting to take the risk. And if they do, you have to pay a lot more, which has become a big factor for some people, especially if you're trying to buy a house. So anyways.
And that brings up one question that I had is, people are getting very price sensitive. Everything, like you mentioned, everything's going up in price. Everything's expensive. What can people do to make sure that they're getting the best bang for their buck, the best rate from their insurance provider? How can they make sure that that is really working for them?
Well, first of all, what you need to do is understand your insurance. You need to understand your policy, what it's covering, what it's not covering, what you're paying for each coverage, and understand them. The other thing you can do is you do a review. Meet with your insurance agent sit down with them. I want to do a review in light of what's been happening in the industry. How is it affecting me? How can it affect me? What do I need to do? How do I look? You can ask questions like, am I getting all of the possible discounts that I'm entitled to? Would it help if I bundled my home, auto, umbrella, life insurance? Because a lot of times, you know, the more policies you have, the deeper the discount. And also raise your deductibles. By raising your deductibles, you're taking on more risk, but also you understand how it works a little bit better. So, and then there are things that you can do to mitigate claims, like defend the full space around your house, make sure there's no overhanging trees. Also, you can spray this like fire retardant stuff. Not a lot of people do that. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do. You can buy these water leak detecting devices to prevent water leaks. So I would say shop around, but sometimes shopping around creates more problems because people are gonna be selling or buying. They're gonna sell you on price rather than coverage. So if you want cheap, you're gonna get cheap, but then when you have a problem, there's nobody there to help you.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I'd rather pay a little bit more and work with a client that understands the coverage and why he has it and why it's important to have it. And if cost is an issue, we can kind of work with him on kind of restructuring it. So shopping around isn't always necessarily the best thing to do.
Interesting. Now, you'd mentioned about a water saving or a leak detection thing. Talk to me a little bit about that and how that works.
Yeah, Moen makes this device called Flow, FLO, by Moen. And basically it's a device that a plumber has to install where the water comes in from the city to your garage and then from the garage to your house. So it's right in the middle, and this device basically detects leaks, and it will shut off if it detects a leak and nobody shuts it off. It has an app that will contact you, text you. The app tells you how many gallons are you wasting in the sink, in the bathtub, in the toilets. You have the ability to turn it on and off. It's very useful. And by the way, water claims are the most common types of claims that we see. We do see fire claims, but typically, you know, wildfires is unfortunately what we see. And it's usually a kitchen fire or a garage fire. It's nothing like a whole community type thing. So.
Got it. And talking about water claims, I do see that quite a bit in property management. We have a lot of issues, you know, condos will flood and they'll flood into neighbors' places. What's the benefits and what are the dangers of putting in a water claim with your insurance company?
Well, I like to use the analogy of the DMV. You know, what does the DMV do if you get too many tickets or accidents? They basically suspend your license or cancel your driving privileges altogether. So it could be that if you have too many claims, the insurance company may say, hey, listen, we don't want to insure you anymore. You have a high propensity of filing claims, and you're the kind of risk that, you know, we don't like, obviously. So, I mean, the insurance company wants to pay claims, but they don't want to be working with somebody that is constantly filing claims. The insurance company has the ability and the authority to say, hey, we don't want this type of client. And if you do file claims, it can make your rates go up, because when you file a claim, they surcharge you, which is the insurance company's way of getting their money back. Now, you might have $100,000 claim, and they're never going to get that $100,000 back by way of surcharges you, but it's never going. Once you get surcharged, your rates never go down. So it just keeps going up and up and up. And if they decide not to renew you because of claims, the other carriers will see that information and be like, oh, you have too many claims. We can't. Farmers, if you have 2 claims, it won't take you. So if you have 2 claims and you install the water leak detector by Flow by Moen, then they will erase 1 point and give you 1 claim, and then you will qualify. But certainly, water claims are certainly an issue. And the other thing is deductibles. You know, if you have $1,000 deductible and you have a $2,000 claim, it might not really be worth it in the long run if they're going to surcharge you. Now, and the other thing is, if I always say the the homeowners insurance is more like a catastrophic insurance instead of like a health insurance where you go for health checkups and band-aids and scrapes and bruises. This is for like a catastrophic event, like a kitchen fire, you know, or the whole downstairs flooded. To me, that's the kind of claim that we're looking for. Not to say that we won't pay the smaller claims, but it does affect the consumer. So as a consumer, you have to educate yourself on claims. And I'm always telling my clients, listen, before you file a claim, call me, let me send my experts out there.
Yeah.
They can tell me like, this is going to be a covered issue or this is not going to be a covered issue. I can tell them what your deductibles are. They can help me to educate you better on the whole process. And it kind of gives them more skin in the game too. Like, okay, I understand how this is all working. So
Now, my understanding too, and I might be wrong in this, but if somebody has a water claim on their house, that claim is recorded or stays with the house per se, not necessarily the person. So if you were to have, like you said, too many claims, your house is then uninsurable, not just for you, but if you try to insure it with another company, or if you go to sell it, a buyer may have trouble getting insurance on it. Is that accurate?
that is actually accurate, and I actually ended up winning one of my first cases in my networking group by exactly that manner. It was with a realtor you might know, but basically the deal was stalled because there was this whole claim that was not resolved. The claim was holding everything up, and until somebody was going to accept that claim or insure the house with the claim. And basically what happened was that the repairs were done, but there was no paperwork to prove that the repairs were done.
Ooh.
So there needed to be some massaging. Ultimately, we won the case. It was a nice deal. But yeah, that does happen, and you have to be careful.
Got it. And one of the last topics I want to cover is in regards to liability insurance. A lot of landlords look at the liability insurance requirements that we have for our clients and they go, my goodness, why do I need $1 million liability coverage? Or, tenants might go to us and say, why do we need, $100,000 or $200,000 liability coverage? Talk to me and educate me a little bit about liability and why that's important.
Well, liability basically protects you, and you could be the owner, the renter, the landlord, whoever is, in possession of that property, from legal and financial, problems that may arise if there's an injury. For example, let's say you're renting your house to me. I'm renting your house. It has a swimming pool. I'm having a pool party, and one of the kids, slips and breaks his ankle. And now, or let's just say it was something more severe. Somebody, cracked their skull open, and life flight had to come out, and there's, it's a big deal. So lawsuits are going to fly. Who's going to pay for all that? Well, it was your house, so they're going to point the finger at you. If you're renting the house, they're going to point the finger at the landlord. So it protects you. And let's just face it, we live in a litigious society. So, and if you have any type of assets, equity that you need to protect, it's important to have enough liability protection to protect at least the assets, because if it's a big lawsuit, they can take it. You know, or the insurance company will say, hey, you know what? You got sued for $1 million. You only had 50,000 of liability. Here's a check for 50. Good luck. That's how they operate. They're only on the hook for what they're on the hook for. Now, if you have $1 million of liability protection or an umbrella, it's like tying yourself to the hip of the insurance company attorneys. They're gonna watch you and protect you and help you, because you represent $1 million loss.
Yeah, they don't want to pay out if they don't have to, right?
And these attorneys, by the way, they're not, they're $50 an hour attorneys. These are $500 attorneys that they just go to battle every day. They're on retainers. All they do is litigate, So it's important to have that. And by the way, liability protection protects you anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world, actually. So
interesting.
jet skiing in Aruba and run me over and still be protected.
If I see you in Aruba, I'll try not to run you over with my jet ski.
Thank you.
I got to get one first. So excellent. Well, hey, Lester, I appreciate all of the great information. It's been very enlightening. And how can people reach out to you or get your contact information? How can they contact you?
Well, I'm here local in Chula Vista. I'm licensed in California and Nevada. So you can reach me by phone, email, visit me at the office here off of Telegraph Canyon Road. Reach out to Peter. He knows how to get a hold of me. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Perfect. That's wonderful. So as you can see, we just had a great expert on here with us that's talked about insurance and about all of the changes going on. There's been an increase in rates. There's been an increase in claims. There's been a whole lot going on. So you may see your insurance rates going up here on your properties, on your cars. Reach out to your brokers and make sure you reach out to Lester if you have any questions. He can definitely help you. But a few key takeaways that I found in today's notes. There's a lot going on in the insurance industry. It's definitely going to affect pretty much anybody that has a home, that has a car, that is renting a place. It's going to hit everybody. Get educated as to why your policy prices are what they are. Maybe you can do a better deductible, cheaper deductible, a higher deductible to lower your monthly premiums. Make sure you have adequate coverage. Make sure that you're covered to the extent that you need to be, whether that's for just rebuild, whether that's for liability. Make sure you check into all of that. Your water claims, be careful with your water claims. Those will affect your coverage greatly. So only use those in catastrophic conditions. Also, check out the smart leak water detectors, the flow that's put out there. They're about $600. You can get them installed, and that might save you a lot of headaches and problems in the future. So thanks for joining us again. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. When you have any property management needs, make sure you reach out to me, Peter Carlson, Procelsus Property Management. You can reach me directly, 619-370-6555, or email me, peter@praehomes.com, PRAEHOMES.com, and we'll talk to you then.